Welcome, traveler of dreams. Tonight's horror stories crawl out from the darkest corners of dating apps. Horror stories like these. Also, let me know where you are watching from, so go ahead and leave a comment. Let's begin. I'd been single for nearly a year when it all went down. My name's Evan Carter. I'm 27 and live alone in a small one-bedroom place on the west side of Fairview, Illinois. Not a big city, but large enough that you could run errands and still pass by strangers every time. I work as a mechanic at a neighborhood auto shop and keep to myself most of the time. After my last breakup, I swore off dating entirely. But isolation has this sneaky way of creeping back into your life, especially when every night feels identical. Microwave dinners, the dull hum of the fridge, and the faint echo of cars outside. One night, that boredom got the best of me, and I reinstalled Matchline, one of those apps promising real people, real connection. The first few matches were a nightmare. One woman ghosted me after a week of chatting. Another arrived drunk to our first coffee date. A third actually stuck around for a while, but she was still obsessed with her ex. At that point, I wasn't searching for love anymore, just someone to talk to, maybe share a quiet evening with, no expectations. Then I matched with a woman named Mara Grant. Her profile was bare bones. 2 pictures, one of her at a park wearing a red hoodie, and another selfie in what looked like a roadside diner. Her bio read, "Not looking for anything serious, just someone who gets it." That line stuck with me. She messaged me first. "Mira, you look chill. Always wear that leather jacket?" Me? Only when I'm trying to look cooler than I really am. "Mara, you're doing fine. Want to hang out tonight?" It was sudden, but I didn't care. I'd had a long day at the shop and wanted company. "Me sure? Just to hang out though, right?" "Mara, yeah, I just need a quiet place for a bit. Yours okay?" That should have been my cue to think twice. I barely knew her, but it was already 9:30 p.m. I'd had a beer, and the idea of not being alone sounded better than overthinking it. Around 10, a gray sedan pulled into the lot below my building. I watched through the blinds as she stepped out. Petite, long dark hair, gray sweatpants, a hoodie too big for her. She looked paler than her photos, eyes tired. When I opened the door, she didn't smile, just muttered, "Hey Evan," in a tone that was calm but hollow, like she'd cried earlier. "Yeah, come in," I said, stepping aside. "Thanks," she whispered, brushing past me. She studied the living room slowly, pausing on a shelf where I had some family photos. "You live alone?" she asked. "Yeah, just me." "That's good," she said softly. Something about her tone made me uneasy, but I brushed it off. We went up to my room since that's where the TV was. She sat on the edge of the bed while I flipped channels. At first, everything was fine. We talked about work, favorite bands, weird dating stories. She even laughed when I told her about a girl who once brought her cat to a restaurant. But as the night went on, her mood shifted. She grew quieter. Her gaze kept drifting toward the corner of the room, and once or twice she murmured things I couldn't understand. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah, just thinking," she said. "About what?" "People," she said. "How they change when you stop pretending." Something about her tone made me uneasy. I chuckled awkwardly. "Sounds like you've had a rough run." "Everyone has," she replied without blinking. At around midnight, she stood up suddenly. "Thanks for letting me sleep here," she said. "Sleep here?" I repeated. "You mean tonight?" "You said we could hang out for the night," she said plainly, as if it was already agreed on. I hesitated but didn't want to cause tension. Yeah, sure. I'll grab you some blankets." I made her a small bed on the floor beside mine. She thanked me in a strangely formal way, then lay down facing the wall. I switched off the TV, turned over, and shut my eyes. The whole thing felt off, but I eventually drifted asleep. I woke up later, unsure of the time. Moonlight slipped through the blinds. I sat up instinctively and looked down. The blanket on the floor was empty. Maybe she went to the bathroom, I thought, but I didn't hear a thing. The air felt too still until faint muttering came from downstairs. I assumed she was on a call, but the tone wasn't conversational. It was low, trembling, like someone pleading under their breath. I crept out of bed and moved toward the stairs. From there, I could see a faint light in the kitchen. Her voice carried through the silence. "Don't make me do it again. I told you I wouldn't." She sounded angry, then desperate. "Mara, I called softly. No answer. My heart thudded as I descended the steps. I turned the corner and froze. She was sitting in a chair, facing the wall, knees drawn to her chest, rocking slightly. Her fingers clutched the sleeves of her hoodie. "Mara?" I said again. She didn't respond. I took a cautious step closer, and she whispered, "It's not you. It's him." I stopped cold. "What? Who's him?" She slowly turned her head toward me, her eyes hollow and dark, her pupils dilated. "You shouldn't have let me in," she murmured. "Okay," I said quietly, trying to stay calm. "You're scaring me a little." "Maybe you should be," she replied softly. Then, without warning, she stood and walked past me into the hallway, murmuring, "He doesn't like when I talk too much." She moved upstairs with slow, deliberate steps. I stood frozen for several seconds before pulling out my phone. I called my dad. It took him a few rings to answer. "Dad," I whispered, "there's this girl from that app. She's acting really strange, talking to herself, saying weird things." "Why is she in your house?" he asked, groggy. "I don't know. She said she needed somewhere to stay, but now she's losing it. What do I do? Call the cops. Now. Don't handle it yourself." That's when I saw movement upstairs, a faint shadow by my bedroom door. It shifted slightly like someone rocking on their heels. "Dad," I whispered, "she's up here." And then she stepped into view. Mara. Her face was barely lit, but I could see her smile, small and wrong. She stared at me for 10 long seconds, then charged forward with a scream that didn't sound human. It was this guttural, distorted sound that cut straight through me. I dropped my phone as she slammed into me, her hands wrapped around my throat instantly, pressing hard. I could smell the faint metallic tang of blood. I fought to pry her grip loose, pushing her back. We crashed against the wall. She shrieked again, thrashing, her nails slicing at my skin. I forced her down and pinned her to the floor. "Stop," I shouted. "What's wrong with you?" Her eyes rolled back and she muttered in a trembling voice, "He told me you were the one." That's when I realized she wasn't just disturbed, she was completely gone. I yelled to my dad to call 911. Within minutes, flashing red and blue lights filled the windows. 2 officers arrived. I met them at the door, shaking uncontrollably. They found Mara sitting once again in that same kitchen chair, whispering the same words over and over. They cuffed her and led her outside. One officer turned back to me. "You said you met her on a dating app." I nodded, still trembling. "Might want to stay off those for a while." He wasn't wrong. Later I learned she'd been reported missing months earlier. She'd been in and out of psychiatric institutions, drifting between towns. Somehow she'd managed to steal a phone, create a fake account, and find me. I still think about what could have happened if I hadn't woken up when I did. Every time my phone dings with a new notification, that same chill creeps up my spine. I deleted Matchline the next morning and haven't used another app since. Some nights, when the house is silent, I swear I can still hear her whisper from the dark corner of my room. "You shouldn't have let me in." I matched with her on a Thursday evening. Snow had blanketed the town since morning, the kind that silences everything, cars, conversations, even the passage of time. I'd spent most of my life single, not out of choice, but because dating always seemed to go nowhere. I'd used apps before, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, mostly for distraction rather than connection. It was February 2014, the heart of winter, and there wasn't much else to do except sit near my space heater and swipe through faces. That night, I matched with a girl named Sue. Her profile picture was simple. She was seated in a cafe, hair draping over one eye, a faint smile that didn't look posed or exaggerated. She seemed authentic, someone you could easily picture talking to across a coffee table. Her bio read, "Not into games, just want good vibes and someone who can make me laugh." We started chatting around 8:30 p.m. Me. "Hey, looks like we're both trapped indoors thanks to this storm." Sue. "Yeah, it's insane. You holding up okay?" Me. "Barely. Netflix and leftover pizza are the survival kit." Sue. "That's the perfect combo." "What are you watching?" It felt effortless, natural. She wasn't trying too hard or forcing conversation. With her, it flowed. I'd been messaging a few other matches, but those chats felt empty and mechanical. Talking to Sue felt like something different, like she actually cared about what I said. Around 10:15, I asked, "Ever meet anyone from here before?" She replied, "Not really. You?" "Me." "A couple times. Mostly fine." "Me? You nearby?" "Sue." "Yeah, about 10 minutes away, near Brookdale." Brookdale was close, maybe 2 neighborhoods over. Then she wrote, "You seem cool. Want to hang out tonight? Just watch a movie or something?" Me. "You're serious?" Sue. "Yeah, not working tomorrow. Thought it'd be fun." I stared at the message, uncertain. People from apps had asked before, but something about her tone, steady and casual, made it sound genuine. "Me, sure. Why not? You can come over." "Sue?" "Perfect. Send me your address." I typed it out and hit send. She replied, "Cool. Be there soon." Then her status went offline. No phone number. No other pictures beyond that cafe one. No last name. Just offline. I assumed she was getting ready or lost connection. I waited, flipping from Netflix to a basketball replay, checking the app every few minutes. Still offline. By 11:30, I was exhausted. Maybe she'd changed her mind. I turned off the TV and went to sleep. When I woke up, dim gray light filtered through my blinds. My phone said 6:42 a.m. I rubbed my eyes and saw a few Badu notifications. Sue sent you a new message. There were 3. 10 a.m. "Hey, I'm coming now." 2:16 a.m. "I'm outside." 3:02 a.m. "You're cute when you sleep." For a moment, my brain lagged, unable to process the words. Then panic rushed through me. I sat up, looking at my window. The blinds were half open. Outside, faint footprints trailed through the snow right up to the glass. My mouth went dry. I typed back, "Who is this?" No response. Then another notification appeared. "Sue sent you a new message. Check your closet." I froze. My closet door stood slightly ajar, darkness spilling out like an open mouth. I whispered, "No way," sliding out of bed carefully, eyes locked on that thin line of shadow. When I got closer, the door creaked, widening by itself. "Sue?" I croaked softly. No reply. I lunged forward, grabbed the doorknob and yanked it open. Nothing. Just coats, a few boxes, the faint smell of detergent. Then I felt a chill at the back of my neck, a breath of cold air. I turned. The window latch had been undone. I slammed it shut, locking it tight this time. My hand shook uncontrollably. The snow outside showed clear prints leading to the window, but none going back. I grabbed my phone and called my neighbor Eric, a retired Marine who lived next door. "Eric," I said, breathless, "I think someone was in my house." He was at my door within 2 minutes, hoodie and pajama pants still on. "What's going on?" he asked. I showed him the messages. He read them, frowning. "Jesus, you didn't give her your number, did you?" "No, just my address, through the app." "Damn it," he muttered. "That's bad." We checked the whole house, every room, every closet, nothing. All doors were locked except that one window. When he left, I sat on my bed shaking. My phone buzzed again. "You shouldn't have locked me out." My heart lurched. I opened the app, but her profile had vanished, deleted. Later that morning, I went straight to the police station. The officer at the desk looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. I told him everything, the messages, the footprints, the unlocked window. He asked for screenshots, so I showed him. He sighed. "We can file a report," he said, "but tracking someone from those apps isn't easy. You'd need a subpoena to get data. Best thing, stay with someone for a few nights. Keep your doors locked." That was all they offered. For the next week, I barely slept. Every night I pushed a chair against my bedroom door. I bought motion lights for the porch. Nothing happened. By the 7th night, I started thinking maybe it was some cruel prank. Maybe someone found my info online. But on the 8th night, at 3:11 a.m., I woke to a sound. Faint, distant, a phone notification tone. That familiar triple chime. I sat up. It came again, closer, this time outside my window. I crept to the blinds, trembling. Slowly, I lifted one slat. A woman stood in my driveway. dark coat, hood pulled up. The pale glow of her phone lit her face, sharp, expressionless, staring directly at my window. She smiled. I dropped the blinds, backed into the wall, and called 911. By the time the police arrived, she was gone. They found new footprints circling the house. The officers took another report but said the same thing. Without her account, they couldn't trace her. I deleted every dating app that night. It's been over 10 years now. I've moved twice, changed jobs, even switched my number. But every winter when the snow falls heavy and the world turns silent again, I still hear that triple phone chime echo faintly in my head. And sometimes, just before dawn, I see shallow footprints outside my window. Never fresh, never deep, just watching. I hadn't planned on jumping back into dating. Not this soon, at least. After breaking things off with Ben, the man I honestly believed might have been the one, I swore to take some time for myself. But solitude has a way of creeping in quietly. The nights grew longer, the silence too loud, my phone too still. I told myself it was just curiosity, not loneliness. So on one uneventful Thursday night, I re-downloaded Tinder. I remember watching my reflection in the dark screen, half my face lit by its pale glow, thinking, here we go again. I live alone in a small townhouse just outside Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My job as a project coordinator for a logistics firm downtown keeps my weekdays packed: spreadsheets, conference calls, lukewarm coffee. Most of my friends are married now, tangled up in their own families and packed schedules. I figured there was no harm in swiping a bit. That's how I came across Aaron. Aaron's profile seemed ordinary, maybe too ordinary. A clean-cut guy in his late 20s with short dark hair. A few hiking pictures, one with a golden retriever, another at some local brewery. His bio read, sarcastic, gainfully employed, and taller than your ex. I actually laughed, which almost never happens on those apps. We started talking. He was sharp, clever with his jokes, confident without being smug. He asked about my favorite coffee shop, what spots I liked around the city, and what I did to unwind. It felt surprisingly natural. Most guys were either awkwardly intense or hopelessly dull. Aaron struck the right balance, flirty but grounded. After a few days, we switched to texting. He was consistent but not clingy. Occasionally, he'd send voice notes, which somehow made him feel more real. One night, he said something that stuck. Aaron, you seem like someone who doesn't like games. Me, not unless we're talking board games. Aaron, good. I'm over fake people. You seem genuine. It felt sincere. So I let my guard down. 2 weeks later, he texted, Aaron, you like wine, right? Me. That's like asking if I breathe oxygen. Aaron, perfect. Let me send you something. What's your Venmo? I paused. No guy had ever offered to send me money before. Me. For what? Aaron. Just a little treat. A couple bottles on me. Long week. I laughed it off, but he insisted. It wasn't much, $40, and he transferred it immediately. I joked about feeling like a sponsored sommelier, and he replied with a heart emoji. Later, he invited me over for a casual hangout, said some friends would be there, grilling out. If you're not comfortable, that's cool, he added. His tone disarmed me. No pressure, so I agreed. That Friday evening, the sky had that hazy blue before sundown where everything feels suspended in time. I stopped by a liquor store for 2 bottles of red, nothing fancy. His house was in Worthington, a decent, quiet suburb. I pulled into the driveway around 7. Lights glowed from the windows. He opened the door before I could knock, smiling easily. He looked just like his photos, maybe even better. Tall, broad shoulders, gray t-shirt, jeans. His charm felt effortless. Inside, 2 guys lounged on the couch watching football highlights. One introduced himself as Troy, the other as Mason. They were polite, friendly enough. But what caught my attention wasn't them. It was the kitchen. 2 cabinet doors were wrecked, splintered wood, busted hinges, one hanging lopsided, others were cracked like someone had struck them. I tried to lighten the mood. Me. What happened here? Someone lose a wrestling match with your cabinets? Aaron, chuckling. Yeah, that'd be me. Rough night last week. Took it out on the wrong thing. He said it jokingly, but something about it felt off. Me, you punched them? Aaron, yeah, stupid, I know. But hey, cheaper than therapy, right? He waited for me to laugh. I didn't. Instead, I followed him into the living room. We opened our drinks. Music hummed low. The atmosphere relaxed. After about an hour, Troy left, and Mason went outside for a smoke. That's when everything shifted. Aaron stood at the counter, scrolling through his phone. Suddenly, he slammed it down so hard it bounced off the granite and clattered to the floor. Me. Whoa, what happened? Aaron. Nothing. It's fine. Me. You sure? Aaron. I said, it's fine. His tones sliced through the air, sharp and sudden. He grabbed a bar stool and hurled it against the wall. It hit with a metallic crash. Me. Aaron, what the hell? Aaron, just leave me alone for a second. I froze. My instincts screamed to leave, but my body wouldn't move. I held the neck of the wine bottle like a weapon. Mason walked back in, cigarette still burning. Mason, dude, what's your problem? Aaron, drop it, man. Mason, you're scaring her. Aaron didn't answer. He just stared at me. Eyes glassy, vacant, like he was somewhere else. Then he stepped forward, slow and deliberate. Me, Aaron, stop. Without warning, he lunged and bit my thigh. I screamed, shoving him off. Pain radiated through my leg, my jeans torn. Me. What the hell is wrong with you? He blinked, dazed as if confused by his own actions. Then he lunged again, biting down harder. I swung the wine bottle and hit him across the temple. Not enough to break it, but enough to knock him back. He stumbled, panting, eyes wide. Aaron, you hit me. Me, you bit me. He stood there breathing heavily before bursting into a wild laugh, loud, manic, echoing. Aaron? Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. He began pacing, muttering to himself, then threw himself backwards, slamming into the hallway wall. The impact rattled the house. Mason, stop it, man. Aaron, I can't stop. He punched the drywall until his knuckles split, blood streaking the paint. I backed toward the door, trembling. Me, I'm leaving. Aaron, no, wait, please. His voice cracked, and suddenly he was crying full, broken sobs. He dropped to his knees, clutching his head. Aaron, my dad's sick. I'm not okay. I don't know what to do. I hesitated, torn between fear and pity. Me, you need help, professional help. Aaron, don't go. Please don't. Mason stepped in between us. She needs to leave, dude. You're freaking her out. Aaron, no. We're going fishing, remember? I just want to talk. Just talk. Fishing? What was he talking about? Me? Yeah, I think I'll skip that trip. No, it's fine, Mason said quickly, trying to keep things calm. We'll all go. You can follow us. Grateful for any excuse to leave, I nodded. Outside, the cool air hit me hard. The neighborhood was still just crickets and distant engines. Mason climbed into Aaron's truck, telling me to follow behind. Aaron turned, eyes wild. Aaron, why aren't you riding with me? Me, I'll follow. Need to grab something from my car. Aaron, no. Get in the truck. Me, I'm not going anywhere with you. His face hardened. Then go home, Aaron said. He slammed my car door and stormed off. Mason looked horrified but said nothing. They drove off, disappearing into the night. I sat frozen for a minute, shaking, before finally starting my car. 3 blocks later, I saw him, standing in the middle of the road. Aaron. His chest rose and fell, eyes reflecting my headlights. Me, whispering, "Oh my God." He sprinted straight at me, slamming both hands onto the hood, dragging them across with a screech that scraped my nerves raw. Then he ran to my window, yanking the handle. Aaron, open the door. I just want to talk. I threw the car in reverse, tires squealing, as he pounded on the back glass. I shifted to drive and floored it. In the rearview mirror, he was chasing barefoot, his shirt torn. I didn't stop until I reached the main road. The next morning, a text came from an unknown number. Mason. Hey, it's Mason. I'm so sorry about last night. I've never seen him like that before. Please don't call the cops. He's not well. Then another message. Aaron, I heard I went crazy. I don't remember any of it. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. My leg still ached, the bruises dark and shaped like teeth. I replied once, You're lucky I didn't shoot you, lose my number. Then I blocked him. It's been 6 months. Sometimes when I'm driving home late, I still glance at my mirrors. I don't use dating apps anymore, not because I'm scared, but maybe exactly because I am. People say monsters don't exist, but they do. They just text you first,